The last time someone claimed the moon, they planted a flag and left. This time, they brought warships and disappeared. The last time someone claimed the moon, they planted a flag and left. This time, they brought warships and disappeared. Elias Mercer sipped chamomile tea with a calm that bordered on unsettling. Outside the lunar dome, stars glittered over the desolate gray terrain like scattered glass over concrete. Behind him, screens pulsed with sensor readings, communication logs, and a quietly looping classical playlist. Bach, if memory served. His company today? 8-foot-tall mollusk-like diplomats from the Valari Dominion. 3 eyes each, tentacled limbs tucked politely under ceremonial robes, and egos big enough to orbit the sun twice. We are here to formalize the annexation of this satellite, one Valari delegate announced. Its voice, filtered through a translator, was a melodic hum undercut by a patronizing drawl. Elias smiled. Annexation is such a brisk word. Might I offer coffee before we leap into empire building? The delegate's upper eye blinked sideways. You jest. I do. But I also brew a mean espresso. Say the word. They declined. Elias pressed a button. An elegant tray extended from the table, presenting an assortment of pastries, steam rising gently from 2 cups. He took one, sipped, and gestured to the untouched spread. No? Pity. The biscottis from Naples. The real one. Another Valari, larger and adorned with shimmering medallions, leaned forward. Human, we are not here for refreshments. This moon is tactically unclaimed. You have no military presence, no defensive net, no claim registered with the Galactic Frontier Protocols. Therefore, it is now Valari territory. Elias nodded thoughtfully. You're absolutely right. On paper, it's as if we forgot all about it. He leaned in. But do you believe everything you read? A silence followed. The Valari conferred in rapid clicks and hisses, their translator pods struggling to keep up. One of them, likely their security analyst, turned to a portable console and initiated drone deployment. Elias took another sip. 10 minutes later, the first transmission from the drone appeared on the holographic table. Dust, craters, abandoned modules from Apollo. Then, a figure, a lone astronaut in a matte black suit, stood perfectly still in the shadows. Behind him, carved into the lunar dust, was a symbol the Valari didn't recognize. The feed went dark. The delegates stiffened. It seems your unit encountered interference, Elias offered gently. Lunar static. Happens sometimes. The senior Valari leaned forward. You claim no ownership, yet your people are clearly stationed here. No one said they were people, Elias replied, voice still warm. And if they were, surely you'd have detected their life signs? Another drone was dispatched. Then another. One reported music, distorted, looping. A tune with an infectious rhythm and a man shouting about, good, and guitars. That drone lost signal, too. Elias reached into his coat and retrieved a flash drive. This contains a formal offer from Earth's United Coalition. It's more of a recommendation than a negotiation. The Valari didn't take it. Their commander narrowed his eyes. You threaten us with riddles and tea? I prefer to call them warnings and hospitality, Elias replied. But if the order of things offends, I can certainly start with threats next time. They glared at him in silence. He returned a smile so civil it felt like a blade wrapped in velvet. Tell me, Elias continued, tapping the table with his index finger. Before arriving here, did your analysts study the records of Earth's conflicts? We found your wars excessive, lacking purpose. Emotional. Emotional, yes. And creative. He leaned back. Our species invented diplomacy after centuries of stabbing each other over imaginary lines. Once you've seen that, you realize the moon doesn't need to be owned. It only needs to be remembered. The largest Valari stood. You are stalling. Your delay tactics do not mask your lack of power. We've scanned every major installation on Earth. You lack the reach to defend even your own skies, much less this rock. That's one way to look at it, Elias mused. Another is, perhaps we simply didn't want to be seen reaching. A chirp interrupted. One of the Valari technicians had picked up a signal. Underground. A hum, rhythmic, growing louder. The technician looked at Elias. He gave a slight nod. You're hearing Hollowstone. She's shy, but curious. And protective. The Valari demanded clarification. Elias offered none. Instead, he stood, buttoned his coat, and gave a polite bow. Gentlemen, this moon has moods. I suggest you inform your fleet to reconsider their landing before she wakes up in full. We do not respond to vague warnings from inferior civilizations, the commander barked. Of course not, Elias said, already walking away. But do me one favor. He paused at the airlock door. When your troops feel something watching them from under the ground, when your scanners return nothing but static and your soldiers whisper about shadows moving in vacuum, remember, you weren't warned by a threat. You were warned by a man offering coffee. The doors hissed shut behind him. Back aboard the Valari command ship, tension simmered. 20 drones offline. 2 squads unresponsive. The last message? A grainy video clip, an astronaut waving again, closer this time, his visor reflecting something massive and unseen behind him. The commander ordered silence. Begin full deployment. Occupy the southern hemisphere. Quarantine the surface. Prepare to engage. No one objected. Not even the ones who believed they had just heard laughter from beneath the moon. They sent more troops. And something beneath the dust began to stir, something built by humans not to survive, but to be survived by. The Valari command ship, Veneration of Truth, hung motionless above the moon like a silent judge. Beneath it, dozens of landing crafts peeled off in precise formation, descending to the surface with the elegance of falling daggers. Inside the command bay, tension had replaced arrogance. Confirm transmission with squads Alpha through Delta, ordered Commander Voraz. His tentacles fidgeted barely. But in Valari culture, that was panic made visible. Alpha deployed. Delta deploying now. Bravo and Charlie, negative contact. Negative? Silent. No interference, just nothing. Then find them. No one acknowledged the irony. The moon, lifeless and gray, was consuming their soldiers without so much as a whisper. Squad Epsilon landed with textbook precision in the Valles Shrodery region. The landscape stretched endlessly, dust, craters, and ancient human wreckage. Rusted lunar rovers. Panels long stripped by radiation. No movement. No sound. Command, this is Epsilon Actual. Touchdown successful. Beginning perimeter sweep. They fanned out, scanners pulsing, weapons drawn. Valari tech was advanced, but heavy, optimized for direct confrontation. The moon gave them nothing to confront. Then came the ping. Heat signature, 50 meters below surface. Drill protocol? Negative. Permission to deploy tunnel drones. Granted. The drones hissed as they bored downward. A faint vibration tickled the lunar crust. Then a hollow thunk. Sir, said one of the scouts. There's a chamber down there. The drone sent back visual, smooth black walls, sharp angles. Too uniform to be natural. No markings, except for one thing. A circular symbol, etched in the floor. A stylized earth, encased in rings of fire. Upload to command, the squad leader muttered. But before the transfer completed, the chamber lights flickered on. No visible power source. Just on. The drone stopped responding. Sir? The comms officer barked on the Veneration. We've lost the probe. No energy spike. No EMP. It just ceased. Commander Voraz didn't blink. How many squads are active? 8 on the surface. 3 silent. 2 showing signs of confusion. Confusion? They're hearing things. Audio interference, human music. One report says jazz. Another voice broke in, Junior Analyst Taver. Commander, I think we triggered something. You think? I reviewed pre-Earth conflicts. There are references to lunar installations not recognized by their modern records. Entire operations lost in paperwork, erased, or classified. And something called Project Hollowstone. What is it? Taver hesitated. They don't say. But all files linked to it are sealed under Cold War protocols. Their own population doesn't know it exists. Then how can it be active? Maybe that's the point. On the moon's surface, Squad Theta stood outside an ancient crater. They'd received instructions to sweep the interior. It looked ordinary, until they stepped inside. The temperature dropped instantly by 40 degrees. No environmental explanation, said the squad medic, checking his display. No shadow variance. No radiation spike. It just dropped. Then came the sound. A faint whisper, barely perceptible, but present. A voice speaking Valari. Who's there? Barked the squad leader. No response. The whisper returned, this time in perfect Valari syntax. Run! One soldier raised his weapon. That wasn't an echo. Then the crater walls lit up with soft blue light, lines forming shapes. Human faces. Dozens of them. All expressionless. All watching. Theta Squad screamed. Only 2 audio logs made it back. Elias Mercer sat alone inside the Lunar Coordination Dome, sipping tea again. On his screen, a 3-dimensional layout of the moon glowed softly. Blinking red lights indicated alien positions. Blinking green lights, fewer in number, indicated assets. He tapped a command. A small green dot pulsed to life beneath the Valis Shroudery chamber. The voice behind him spoke without emotion. Sequence 4, sir? Elias didn't turn. No. Sequence 3. Let's not scare them too quickly. Understood. From the shadows, a human soldier, face wrapped in black polymer, helmet gleaming with no insignia, nodded once and disappeared down the hall. Back aboard the Veneration, Commander Voraus had finally lost patience. This is an engineered psychological campaign, he snarled. They're toying with us. No direct aggression. No shots fired, Taver said, trying not to tremble. Yet we're losing squads. Not losing. Dismantled. But by what? No one answered. The room pulsed with uncomfortable silence. Then came a transmission. Unencrypted. No warning. Just audio. Attention Valari Command, said a human voice, calm, neutral. You have trespassed on Sovereign Experimental Zone Hollowstone. Immediate evacuation is advised. Non-compliance will result in strategic deresolution. Deresolution? Voraz sneered. That's not a real word. Someone muttered. The voice continued. Your troops are experiencing audio hallucinations, false thermal readings, and memory distortion. This is not a malfunction. This is protocol. Then the message looped. Again and again. Commander Voraz turned to Taver. Do we have a definition for strategic deresolution? Closest translation from old Earth records is being rewritten. On the surface, Squad Delta, once silent, returned with a single visual feed. The image showed a massive underground chamber. Human tech everywhere. But none of it recent. There were machines stacked like tombstones. Monitors flickering with looping footage. One screen showed an astronaut, face obscured, slowly waving. Another showed a rotating 3D model of the Valari Empire. A countdown ran below it. 10 hours. 31 minutes. 12 seconds. What happens when it reaches 0? Taver whispered. The answer came from Elias Mercer, broadcasting live from Earth's lunar diplomacy feed. Well, he said, smiling. Traditionally, when a human countdown ends, something explodes. The countdown ticked past 10 hours. The Valari still held their position on the moon, but their arrogance had eroded, replaced by an unease they couldn't name. Nothing had struck them. No bullets. No beams. No weapons. And yet they were losing. Quietly. Completely. Commander Voraz stood in the command core of the Veneration of Truth, his posture rigid, pupils constricted. His breathing had deepened. His analysts had stopped arguing. On screen, Squad Gamma, transmitting from a lunar cave they had attempted to scan for hours. The visuals showed the interior lit by some unseen source. Carved walls. Human architecture, but warped, impossibly symmetrical corridors, recursive angles that twisted if you stared too long. In the center of the chamber sat a figure, motionless. Not breathing. Enhance, Boraz ordered. The image sharpened. A humanoid in black armor, head bowed. Hands on knees. Unmoving. What is it doing? No one answered. Back on the moon, Lieutenant Drava of Squad Gamma stared through her visor at the figure. Her heart, if you could call it that, raced. The thing hadn't moved in over 30 minutes. But its presence was suffocating. Her second-in-command whispered through comms. I think it's listening. Drava turned toward him. Listening to what? The figure raised its head. No warning. No sound. Just motion. Slow, deliberate. It stood. Their weapons locked instantly. It didn't flinch. Instead, it spoke. Calm. Human. You're standing on classified ground. Protocol 9A prohibits unauthorized Xeno presence. Drava replied without blinking. This territory was unclaimed. The figure tilted its head. So is a bear trap. On the veneration, Voraz slammed his limb into the console. Pull all remaining squads. Now. They're not responding, said Teva. Not refusing, just distracted. By what? They're hearing themselves. Voraz narrowed his eyes. Clarify. The AI systems beneath the moon are using recordings. The soldiers' own voices. Orders they never gave. Commands they trust. Deception tactics. No, sir. I think it's worse. I think it's mimicking them. Exactly. Thought patterns. Language rhythm. It's rewriting their sense of identity. Voraz stared at the screen. Psychological overwrite. Teva nodded slowly. They're being disarmed, from the inside. Inside Earth's lunar coordination room, Elias Mercer adjusted his tie, scrolled past the Valari transmission logs, and smiled as a familiar alert chimed. Hollowstone Control, Sequence 3 initiated. He leaned back, eyes closed, listening as the AI's synthetic voice whispered like a ghost. Environmental distortions calibrated. Lunar grav echoes destabilized. False biosignature projection underway. Across the moon, false readings erupted, heat signatures mimicking Valari physiology, moving in perfect synchronization. Squads fired on phantoms. Some retreated into caves that weren't there an hour ago. One group ran in circles until the suit oxygen drained, convinced they were heading back to base. None were attacked. Not once. And yet, none were left functional. Commander Voraz opened the emergency channel. Earth Command. This is Valari Dominion flagship. We demand an immediate cease of hostile action. We are prepared to enter diplomatic talks. The screen shifted. Elias appeared, cup of tea in hand, immaculate suit pressed, expression friendly. Commander Voraz, he said warmly. You seem tense. You've been deceiving us. Elias raised an eyebrow. I made no threats. No attacks. I served Biscotti. This is warfare disguised as hospitality. That, Elias replied smoothly, is humanity's specialty. Voraz thumped his console. We'll retaliate. Elias took a sip. Commander, you're parked above a relic of our Cold War era. The base you triggered was never meant to win wars. It was built to study how aliens panic. Every hallucination, every malfunction? It's scripted. You think you can control fear? No, Elias said. We just learned how to aim it. Inside the depths of the moon, the armored figure walked forward, boots whispering across black stone. Behind it, the chamber sealed itself. No mechanism. No sound. Its suit bore no insignia, no visible life support. It spoke again, this time into the lunar network. All foreign units logged. Tactical adaptation complete. Initiating final layer simulation. Beneath the surface, Hollowstone began its masterpiece. Orbiting drones malfunctioned. Valari tactical software rebooted into static. Command channels looped images of smiling human children waving, then flickered into weapon schematics coded in dead Earth languages. Then came the most chilling signal yet. A voice. Childlike. Human. Would you like to play a game? One Valari engineer screamed and clawed at his communicator. Another simply laughed. Then cried. Then went still. Why? Voraz rasped, staring at Elias. Why go to such lengths? Why not just destroy us? Elias looked genuinely puzzled. Oh, we could. But destruction is temporary. Memory, Commander, now that is a weapon. He leaned forward, polite but final. When the next Empire considers invading Earth, they won't see battle footage. They'll see this, an Empire swallowed by silence. No wreckage. No resistance. Just vanishing. Voraz hissed. You're monsters. Elias chuckled. Not monsters. Just human. And you're not the first to forget what that means. The Valari initiated full retreat. Except they couldn't. Their engines powered down mid-cycle. Their ships realigned, by external control. Elias tapped one final command. From the moon's horizon, dozens of hidden transmitters lit up, pulsing in harmony. Hollowstone's last act was a clean one. No weapons. Just silence. The Valari ships flickered. Then faded from sensors. No explosion. No impact. Just gone. Back in the dome, Elias exhaled, stood, and finally finished his tea. He turned to the empty room. Well, he said softly, let's mark that as a successful live test. The Valari were gone. No wreckage. No distress signals. Not a single trace. Their command ship, drop crafts, drones, and every soldier on the lunar surface, erased from existence as if they had never been there. The last image the galaxy saw was a quiet moon beneath a black sky, unblemished, untouched, and now feared. The Galactic Senate convened 3 days later. 94 species in attendance. Thousands watching across the stars. Valari allies were the first to speak, nervous, shifting in their pods, searching for answers in silence. They breached no treaty. A reptilian diplomat barked. The moon was legally unclaimed. Where are they? From the human delegation, Elias Mercer adjusted his sleeves. No comment on the Valari status, he said smoothly. But if you're concerned about their well-being, I'd recommend not retracing their steps. A silence settled over the chamber. Not from confusion, but dread. Another envoy, feathered and old, leaned forward. Are you saying Earth engineered a full-scale disappearance? Elias raised his palms. Disappearance is a strong word. Let's just say, the moon is no longer interested in visitors. A younger race, newly space-faring and full of confidence, scoffed. You expect us to believe your species is capable of untraceable warfare? Elias smiled, gently tapping a finger on the table. Who said it was warfare? On Earth, media speculation spread fast, but the official statement remained sterile. Lunar anomaly under investigation. No further comment. Privately, military leaders across the planet reviewed Hollowstone's logs. Not just of the Valari operation, but the long game humanity had played to get there. For decades, Earth had watched the stars, studying every species that visited, every signal intercepted. Diplomacy was offered first. Silence came second. But beneath the surface of the moon, behind sealed vaults, they had quietly rehearsed how to erase an empire, without firing a single bullet. Back at Hollowstone, Elias walked the quiet corridors. The walls hummed with faint power, sensors resetting, systems cooling. The armored figure from before stood motionless again, slotted into its alcove like a museum relic. Status? Elias asked. The AI responded in the voice of a British librarian. All Valari presence neutralized. No detectable residue. Memory stream falsified in the galactic records. Hollowstone remains hidden. He paused beside the black glass command board. One button blinked, sequence 4 locked. He didn't press it. Not yet. Weeks passed. No sign of Valari remnants surfaced. No refugee. No escape pod. Their entire empire had gone into full emergency lockdown. Civilian colonies across 4 systems withdrew every ship near the Sol system. And then the rumors started. Whispers in the outer systems. Stories about human soldiers who moved like shadows. About an Earth installation that whispered your own voice back to you, wrongly. About a moon that showed you your memories before erasing them. No footage. No proof. Just fear. In a spaceport on Drazel 6, a merchant barkeep told it best. They didn't just destroy the Valari, he said, sliding a drink across the bar. They unwrote M. Like chalk on wet stone. The listener, a young officer from the Arkari Republic, frowned. But Earth has no empire. No colonies. They've barely joined galactic commerce. The barkeep leaned in. That's the point. They're not expanding. They're waiting. Watching. For what? The barkeep chuckled. For someone else to be stupid. Inside a classified Earth orbit station, Elias attended a private briefing with 4 other human strategists. No flags. No anthem. Just a table, cold metal, and data screens projecting the next wave of alien traffic. They'll be more cautious now, said Director Naomi Chang. But caution breeds curiosity. Someone will test us again. Elias nodded. Let them. We've given them something far worse than war. Fear? No. Doubt. He folded his hands. Now they'll question every quiet crater. Every handshake. Every offer of coffee. The other smirked. Did Hollowstone achieve full spectrum erasure? Yes, Elias confirmed. And we got clean audio from the commander's last words. What did he say? Elias smiled faintly. He said, "You're monsters." The next official attempt to communicate with Earth came from the Atari consulate, one of the more enlightened species. No fleets. No weapons. Just a carefully worded message. We offer peace, knowledge exchange, and long-term non-intrusion treaties. In return, we ask only one thing. What did you do to them? The human reply was short. We let the moon defend itself. The galaxy didn't receive screams. It didn't get wreckage. There were no monuments, no rubble to study, no transmissions to trace. Only silence. And in that silence, humanity's legend was born, not as conquerors, not as diplomats, but as something far more unsettling. A species that smiled, offered snacks, and set traps beneath its welcome mats. Elias returned once more to the dome on the moon. Hollowstone sat idle now, its systems resting like a serpent basking in the cold light of space. He set a fresh cup of tea beside the main console and stared through the transparent dome at the dark Earth below. Let them wonder, he said softly. Behind him, the automated voice spoke once more. Awaiting new targets. Elias turned off the terminal. Not yet. Let them think. Final line. They came for the moon, expecting dust and surrender. Instead, they found silence, and never left.